Job 23 from the Net Bible. Job's reply to Eliphaz. Then Job answered, "Even today my complaint is still bitter. His hand is heavy despite my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I could come to his place of residence. I would lay out my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know with what words he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me with great power? No, he would only pay attention to me. There an upright person could present his case before him, and I would be delivered forever from my judge." The inaccessibility and power of God. If I go to the east, he is not there, and to the west, yet I do not perceive him. In the north, when he is at work, I do not see him. When he turns to the south, I see no trace of him. But he knows the pathway that I take. If he tested me, I would come forth like gold. My feet have followed his steps closely. I have kept to his way and have not turned aside. I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my allotted portion. But he is unchangeable, and who can change him? Whatever he has desired, he does. For he fulfills his decree against me, and many such things are his plans. That is why I am terrified in his presence. When I consider, I am afraid because of him. Indeed, God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I have not been silent because of the darkness, because of the thick darkness that covered my face. Job 24 from the Net Bible. The Apparent Indifference of God. Why are times not appointed by the Almighty? Why do those who know him not see his days? Men move boundary stones. They seize the flock and pasture them. They drive away the orphan's donkey. They take the widow's ox as a pledge. They turn the needy from the pathway, and the poor of the land hide themselves together. Like wild donkeys in the desert, they go out to their labour, seeking diligently for food. The wasteland provides food for them and for their children. They reap fodder in the field, and glean in the vineyard of the wicked. They spend the night naked because they lack clothing. They have no covering against the cold. They are soaked by mountain rains, and huddle in the rocks because they lack shelter. The fatherless child is snatched from the breast. The infant of the poor is taken as a pledge. They go about naked, without clothing, and go hungry while they carry the sheaves. They press out the olive oil between the rows of olive trees. They tread the wine presses while they are thirsty. From the city, the dying groan, and the wounded cry out for help. But God charges no one with wrongdoing. There are those who rebel against the light. They do not know its ways, and they do not stay on its paths. Before daybreak, the murderer rises up. He kills the poor and the needy. In the night, he is like a thief. And the eye of the adulterer watches for the twilight, thinking, "No eye can see me," and covers his face with a mask. In the dark, the robber breaks into houses, but by day they shut themselves in. They do not know the light. For all of them, the morning is to them like deep darkness. They are friends with the terrors of darkness. You say, He is foam on the face of the waters. Their portion of the land is cursed, so that no one goes to their vineyard. The drought as well as the heat carry away the melted snow. So the grave takes away those who have sinned. The womb forgets him. The worm feasts on him. No longer will he be remembered. Like a tree, wickedness will be broken down. He preys on the barren and childless woman, and does not treat the widow well. But God drags off the mighty by his power. When God rises up against him, he has no faith in his life. God may let them rest in a feeling of security, but he is constantly watching all their ways. They are exalted for a little while, and then they are gone. They are brought low like all others, and gathered in, and like a head of grain they are cut off. If this is not so, who can prove me a liar and reduce my words to nothing? Zechariah 1 from the Net Bible. Introduction. In the 8th month of Darius' second year, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Zechariah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo, as follows. The Lord was very angry with your ancestors. Therefore say to the people, the Lord who rules over all says, turn to me, says the Lord who rules over all, and I will turn to you, says the Lord who rules over all. Do not be like your ancestors, to whom the former prophets called out, saying, the Lord who rules over all says, turn now from your evil wickedness, but they would by no means obey me, says the Lord. As for your ancestors, where are they? And did the prophets live forever? But have my words and statutes, which I commanded my servants the prophets, not outlived your fathers? Then they paid attention and confessed, the Lord who rules over all has indeed done what he said he would do to us because of our sinful ways. The introduction to the visions. On the 24th day of the 11th month, the month Shebat, in Darius' second year, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Zechariah, son of Berechiah, son of Iddo, as follows. The content of the first vision. I was attentive that night, and saw a man seated on a red horse that stood among some myrtle trees in the ravine. Behind him were red, sorrel, and white horses. The interpretation of the first vision. Then I asked one nearby, what are these, sir? The angelic messenger who replied to me said, I will show you what these are. Then the man standing among the myrtle trees spoke up and said, these are the ones whom the Lord has sent to walk about on the earth. The riders then agreed with the angel of the Lord, who was standing among the myrtle trees. We have been walking about on the earth, and now everything is at rest and quiet. The angel of the Lord then asked, Lord, who rules over all, how long before you have compassion on Jerusalem and the other cities of Judah, which you have been so angry with for these 70 years? The Lord then addressed good, comforting words to the angelic messenger who was speaking to me. Turning to me, the messenger then said, cry out that the Lord who rules over all says, I am very much moved for Jerusalem and for Zion, but I am greatly displeased with the nations that take my grace for granted. I was a little displeased with them, but they have only made things worse for themselves. The oracle of response. Therefore, says the Lord, I have become compassionate toward Jerusalem and will rebuild my temple in it, says the Lord who rules over all. Once more, a surveyor's measuring line will be stretched out over Jerusalem. Speak up again with the message of the Lord who rules over all. My cities will once more overflow with prosperity, and once more the Lord will comfort Zion and validate his choice of Jerusalem. Vision 2. The Four Horns. Once again I looked, and this time I saw 4 horns. So I asked the angelic messenger who spoke with me, "What are these?" He replied, "These are the horns that have scattered Judah, Israel and Jerusalem." Next the Lord showed me 4 blacksmiths. I asked, "What are these going to do?" He answered, "These horns are the ones that have scattered Judah, so that there is no one to be seen. But the blacksmiths have come to terrify Judah's enemies and cut off the horns of the nations that have thrust themselves against the land of Judah in order to scatter its people." 2 John from the Net Bible. Introduction and Thanksgiving. From the elder to an elect lady and her children, whom I love in truth, and not I alone, but also all those who know the truth, because of the truth that resides in us and will be with us forever. Grace, mercy and peace will be with us from God the Father and from Jesus Christ the Son of the Father, in truth and love. I rejoiced greatly because I have found some of your children living according to the truth, just as the Father commanded us. Warning against false teachers. But now I ask you, lady, not as if I were writing a new commandment to you, but the one we have had from the beginning, that we love one another. Now this is love, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, just as you have heard from the beginning, thus you should walk in it. For many deceivers have gone out into the world, people who do not confess Jesus as Christ coming in the flesh. This person is the deceiver and the Antichrist. Watch out, so that you do not lose the things we have worked for, but receive a full reward. Everyone who goes on ahead and does not remain in the teaching of Christ does not have God. The one who remains in this teaching has both the Father and the Son. If anyone comes to you and does not bring this teaching, do not receive him into your house, and do not give him any greeting, because the person who gives him a greeting shares in his evil deeds. Conclusion. Though I have many other things to write to you, I do not want to do so with paper and ink, but I hope to come visit you and speak face to face, so that our joy may be complete. The children of your elect sister greet you. 3 John from the Net Bible. Introduction and Thanksgiving. From the elder to Gaius, my dear brother, whom I love in the truth. Dear friend, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health, just as it is well with your soul. For I rejoiced greatly when the brothers came and testified to your truth, just as you are living according to the truth. I have no greater joy than this, to hear that my children are living according to the truth. The charge to Gaius. Dear friend, you demonstrate faithfulness by whatever you do for the brothers, even though they are strangers. They have testified to your love before the church. You will do well to send them on their way in a manner worthy of God. For they have gone forth on behalf of the name, accepting nothing from the pagans. Therefore, we ought to support such people, so that we become co-workers in cooperation with the truth. Diotrephes, the troublemaker. I wrote something to the church, but Diotrephes, who loves to be first among them, does not acknowledge us. Therefore, if I come, I will call attention to the deeds he is doing, the bringing of unjustified charges against us with evil words. And not being content with that, he not only refuses to welcome the brothers himself, but hinders the people who want to do so and throws them out of the church. Dear friend, do not imitate what is bad, but what is good. The one who does good is of God. The one who does what is bad has not seen God. Worthy Demetrius. Demetrius has been testified to by all, even by the truth itself. We also testify to him, and you know that our testimony is true. Conclusion. I have many things to write to you, but I do not wish to write to you with pen and ink. But I hope to see you right away, and we will speak face to face. Peace be with you. The friends here greet you. Greet the friends there by name.